Hello, welcome to Title 10. This is just going to be audio. I may put some image up there, probably the Title 10 with the purple 10. I am truly at a loss for words. There's a lot of states in the South saying they're there and willing to help veterans. I hear all the states around me saying, or people saying, oh yeah, well if you lived here. Well, I don't. Well, so I brought it up to my city hall that instead of selling every scrap of land, I mean, I'm surprised they're not selling that strips of grass between the side roads and the highway. But they are, I mean, they're selling land for establishments to build on that I wouldn't even begin to know how to build on them, because they're more of a I don't know, upside down mountain shape, or they're on a 45-degree slope. Well, probably not quite that, but it's a severe slope. And even if those little lots were perfectly level, what are you going to build on them? They are, you know, if the establishment had a parking lot, you might be able to, if it was just a parking lot, you might be able to fit 5-6 cars total on it. And that's without a building. But anyway, I contacted City Hall. Instead of selling every scrap of land, what is seemingly wrong with green grass and trees? Why does it seem the local area is so hell-bent to have nothing but pavement? Instead of selling the farmland because either the person farming it died, no longer wants to farm, regardless, instead of selling it, how about you get the homeless people, get them up to speed, you know, their health back, you know, their mental quo, and have them farm it. Have prisoners farm it. And for the people that are homeless, in exchange for farming the land, you get some decent housing. Or have some college kids do it. Maybe they find they like it and they're not liberal arts ain't as great as they think it was. Farming's so much better. You know, give them a few college credits. And, you know, I told them this. So I talked to somebody with the city, and I had some small hope there would be a solution somewhere. Nope. Apparently, speaking in plain English, I might as well be talking Ebonics, because I brought to their attention, hey, this city is overpopulated as is. People don't like crowds. People don't like traffic. So how about stop building housing in apartments? This city needs less people than it currently does. You know, you build it, they will come. So if you don't build it, they're not going to show up. Because what's happening is these people are moving in houses, couples. Alright? And if they don't have a kid, they go, oh, wow, look at all this room. Let's fill it with a screaming little brat. Or it's, oh, let's have another kid. Because look, we got 6 rooms. So now, eventually, you have 4 or 5 people in each location. And with 1,000 locations, well, that's another 4,000 people minimum. Not to mention, if that little brat grows up and decides to have a kid at 15 or younger, because hey, I can't take care of myself. Let me have a kid and pass it off to mommy and daddy and grandma, because I still want to live my teens out. And still consider myself a rational, intelligent human being. They said, we can't build a wall around the city. I go, lovely. That's just, given my background, you must think that's my only solution. No, building a wall never crossed my mind. That's retarded. It was simply build less housing. They say, the city's projected to be this big in a decade. Cool. There's only so much land to begin with. You're going to fit, twice as many people? Are you kidding me? It takes a half hour to go from one side of the store to the other. And that makes sense to people. And he says, well, also in your lovely little email, you said you were having some housing problems. Yeah, the only thing working in my house is a plastic chair and a microwave. That includes inside and outside walls, ceiling, electrical, plumbing. The bed doesn't even work. And he goes, if you could change one thing, if one thing could be changed tomorrow, what would that be if you had to choose one? Well, that's a toughie. There's nothing physical about my house worth saving. My health, and this BS of having to seemingly sell every little scrap of land because pavement, that's a joy. I could tell halfway through the conversation he was just entertaining me. His ears were shut off. And a little while later, after everything was done, I realized the problem. It's not that I am saying the incorrect thing, failing to find the proper sequence of words to get the point across. They understand. When they come out to my place, they see the damage. But it's so shocking, and it's in an environment they're not familiar with, because hey, if it's not traffic and pavement, they're lost. Hell, they need a GPS to go a few blocks from their house to place of work. And they're in shock. And when somebody's in shock, they are not thinking correctly. And they don't know what to do to solve any of the problems. So, I don't know what to say. Words fail me. I'm confused of, they don't know what to do. Why don't you try my solution? You're expecting a solution with a just formed committee within a few years. I would not be surprised, given my track record, they would come up with the same solution I have, but by then it's too late. Hello, China's having a population problem. They are coming up with beyond a superstructure. It's like a space scraper. And it's going to be a city inside of a building. That's what they need to continue their way of life over there. California is now seeing the problem of, you build it, they will come, so how about stop building it? They realize you can build all the housing, apartments, roads, you can physically build. That is not going to save the population problem. It's not going to solve it. It's only going to make it worse. You know, it's like any other animal's habitat. The habitat is shrinking, the population is going to shrink. And I just find it funny. Even if they want to, man cannot control its own population. It can control pretty much every other animal's population, including plant and everything in between, but it seemingly do nothing about its own. Which I planned on making an entire video about this, but oh well, I'm here now. I should have put a link in the little info thing there. I read this BBC article, British Broadcasting Company. Not what you were thinking. Get your mind out the gutter. on BBC. It's an old one. I think it's about 2014 or so. And it was talking about, I think there was like 2, maybe 3 there, kids they were talking about, but the one that sticks to my mind is this little girl that might hold the key to aging. This poor little girl, when she was born, her frontal lobe was smooth, meaning she isn't going to be able to learn anything. But they did discover that she is still progressing, so there is hope in the future that she'll physically solve her own problem. But and she could be 30 and only have the capabilities of like a 3-year-old. And they start saying aging is no one problem. It's not going to have one solution. The immortality deal. There's probably not going to be one solution. It's going to have to be a whole bunch of solutions packed into one, like a zip file. Boy, that guy's just out in there. Anyway. And I don't remember if it's the same article or not. But it was, I think it actually was. It was saying something that is obvious, but it's so obvious you don't realize it's there. It's once an organism has offspring, does a whole, boinking thing. Any genetic knowledge or improvements, like we'll talk about sunburns. Okay, so this person had a whole bunch of sunburns and his DNA was becoming adapted to that level of UV exposure. Well, there's a possibility that that kid will get that same DNA. Well, that snippet of DNA, so that the kid itself will be further immune to UV light. There's these 2 birds just talking to each other. It's weird. Anyway. So, any improvement stops once the boinking has occurred. Sort of, you're backing up a computer. You back it up the first time. Well, as you continue, that first backup isn't going to have anything new. It's not going to save the new stuff. It's not going to learn from the new stuff. I really wish this would stop going out. And the whole point of this past 5 or so minutes is, as man as a whole is screwing itself to death. When kids have kids, these 12, 15-year-olds, heck, even in the early 20s, genetically, you really haven't learned much. But you're passing it, what little you did learn, if anything, to your kid. So essentially, because that's happening a lot, the kid that has a mom 15 years older than her has a kid 15 years older, so the mom's 30 and is a grandma. You're not doing mankind any bit of good. Especially when some of those people have 4, 5, and 6 kids. It's not genetic degradation, but it's going in a complete opposite direction other than up. I mean, it's screwing ourselves to death, but nobody wants to solve it because, they're kids, let them be kids, or as the lovely millennials are, anything and everything that falls out of my mouth is the next greatest thing to hit the planet. So you can't tell them jack nothing. I believe it's in some other video I did, but have yet to post. Excuse me. Is the VA... Yes, I forgot what I was saying. Shut up. The reason the VA comes at me and others that are doing what I'm doing really hard and makes it the veterans' fault isn't because they don't know they're doing it. It's not because they really see it as a veteran's fault. The whole goal is to make the veteran feel guilty, feel bad, and they go back to the VA. Why? Why would they do that? Why would they intentionally attempt to make the veteran feel bad? That's because they can't put down, we worked with this patient for 20 minutes, but really we're going to say it's an hour to get that extra money and do a third, if not the quarter of the work. So, no patient equals no pay. Essentially, you're literally taking money out of the provider's pocket when you don't go. I thought it is, just stuff they're not getting. I mean, that's first be in their pocket to take it out. Same with stealing business. It's how you steal a business if you didn't have the business in the first place. I don't know. So, it's a very hard solution, but it's essentially like talking with your pocketbook. To all the lovely veterans out there, if you can, and you have horrible experience with the VA, or you don't need to go that often, and you realize the horror stories, in similar instances of what I told you are true, because you either had a friend or you're just smart enough to trust me, is don't go to the VA. No, if you can help it, don't go. Because like I tell them, and I keep telling everybody else, why don't you go to the VA? Well, because I'd rather die than go back to those butchers. whatever is wrong with me, I realized no matter how severe the pain, I will live. So I think that's my ultimate solution to stop the well-oiled monster machine that is the VA. Is don't go. Would you keep going to the mechanic that keeps screwing up your car? You go in for an oil change, but magically now you have a brake problem. Alright, well you go solve the brake problem. And well, now you have electrical issues. Did you keep going to that mechanic when you didn't have those problems beforehand? Doubt it. So why would we go to providers? Not doctors, providers. Doctors don't do what they do. If they keep screwing up. That's the only viable solution, because all the people that are supposed to solve these wonderful VA problems that may or may not exist, they don't want to hear it. Because either those that are in control don't want it done, or, like I believe, there are a whole bunch of idiots and they only want to pay attention to whatever the providers say. So, us veterans have to come up with a solution ourselves, and unless somebody has something better, the only thing I come up with is not going. So the providers don't get paid. Now, my stance on posting more stuff of whatever